Ever felt tricked by a trailer? The Curse of the Black Pearl was sold as just another pirate adventure, but beneath the surface lies a hidden gem no one saw coming. Misleading? Absolutely, but the real treasure is what the trailer didn't show. Let's dive into the secret magic that made this film legendary. When The Curse of the Black Pearl first hit theaters in 2003, its trailer painted the movie as just another high-octane summer blockbuster. Viewers were bombarded with fast-paced sword fights, supernatural curses, and pirates who couldn't be killed, all wrapped up in a theme park-inspired adventure. It seemed like a typical Hollywood effort to cash in on spectacle, complete with early 2000s jump cuts, dramatic title cards, and flashes of white that were trendy at the time. But there was much more beneath the surface of this trailer, and what it didn't show ended up making the movie a hidden gem that no one expected. Looking back, the trailer may have felt disjointed, throwing scene after scene at the audience with little explanation. You had the usual blockbuster fare, treasure hunts, skeleton pirates, and the swaggering entrance of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. All of this was exciting, but left many viewers scratching their heads. What kind of film was this supposed to be? Was it an action movie? A comedy? A supernatural thriller? The trailer didn't do much to clarify the tone, instead focusing on the larger-than-life spectacle in an attempt to pull viewers in with sheer energy. And while it worked to fill theaters, it also set up expectations that would later be shattered, in the best way possible. At first glance, The Curse of the Black Pearl trailer sold the movie as a typical pirate adventure. Sure, there were a few hints of something more: Jack Sparrow's wit, Elizabeth Swann's sharp dialogue, and the supernatural curse driving the plot. But the bulk of the trailer focused on flashy action sequences and high-stakes pirate battles. It seemed like a film designed to entertain but without much substance. An adaptation of a Disneyland ride meant to draw in crowds for a fun time but little else. What audiences didn't see in the trailer, though, was the depth of the characters, the sharp wit of the dialogue, or the surprising amount of emotional weight that the film would deliver. Captain Jack Sparrow wasn't just a typical pirate. He was a complex and unpredictable character, walking the line between hero and anti-hero with every scene. His charm and unpredictability turned what could have been a one-dimensional role into something iconic. Yet the trailer gave only a glimpse of this, reducing him to a few clever quips and one-liners, leaving out the nuance that would ultimately make Depp's performance legendary. Similarly, Elizabeth Swann, portrayed by Keira Knightley, was more than just the damsel in distress suggested by the trailer. The film revealed her to be a strong, independent character who was more than capable of holding her own in the pirate world. Her wit, resourcefulness, and courage were pivotal to the plot, but you wouldn't have known that from the trailer's quick flashes of her being held captive or making snarky remarks about corsets. It was a missed opportunity to highlight one of the movie's key strengths: the balanced and layered characterization of its leads. The trailer also leaned heavily into the film's supernatural elements, with cursed pirates and moonlit transformations taking center stage. While these aspects were certainly thrilling, they weren't the true heart of the movie. At its core, The Curse of the Black Pearl was a story about loyalty, love, and the blurred line between good and evil. The trailer's focus on the spectacle overshadowed the more intimate moments that made the film truly memorable. In many ways, The Curse of the Black Pearl trailer was a product of the early 2000s, when the formula for blockbuster trailers relied on bombarding viewers with action, dramatic music, and quick cuts. The heavy use of special effects, flashes of light, and rapid transitions from one scene to another was a common marketing technique at the time. This trailer followed that trend to a fault, making it difficult for viewers to get a sense of the film's narrative structure. The result was an exciting, but somewhat confusing preview that left more questions than answers. From a technical standpoint, the editing choices, title cards, and even the font style scream early 2000s. The fast-paced cuts were designed to keep the energy high, but made the plot feel convoluted. While this worked in drawing in crowds looking for excitement, it did little to convey the film's true tone. The rapid-fire editing technique, popular in trailers of that era, often meant sacrificing clarity for thrills. And The Curse of the Black Pearl's trailer was no exception. It created a sense of chaos that mirrored the film's high-stakes pirate adventure but left out the slower, more meaningful moments. Even the visual style of the trailer felt somewhat dated when compared to modern standards. The use of flashy graphics, heavy special effects, and dramatic voiceovers felt like the norm back then, but hasn't aged well. Today's trailers often focus on more immersive storytelling, giving audiences a better idea of the film's plot and tone. By contrast, the Curse of the Black Pearl trailer gave only a surface-level glimpse into what would ultimately be a much richer and more layered story. One of the reasons why The Curse of the Black Pearl became such a success, despite the trailer's misdirection, was its ability to blend multiple genres seamlessly. It wasn't just a pirate adventure or a supernatural tale. It was a film that incorporated comedy, romance, action, and even elements of horror. The trailer only scratched the surface of this, choosing to highlight the action and the supernatural curses while downplaying the humor and heart that made the movie stand out. Captain Jack Sparrow's introduction in the trailer hinted at his eccentric personality, but the full depth of his character wasn't truly revealed until audiences saw him in action on the big screen. Depp's portrayal of Sparrow was far more nuanced and unpredictable than the trailer suggested. His unpredictable behavior, sly intelligence, and ability to manipulate every situation for his benefit made him a character unlike any other in Hollywood at the time. While the trailer presented him as a charming rogue, it didn't capture the full extent of his complexity. Likewise, the trailer's focus on the supernatural curse gave the impression that the film would be more about horror than it was. While the cursed pirates certainly provided some thrilling moments, they were just one aspect of a larger narrative. The film's true strength lay in its ability to balance the supernatural with the comedic, the serious with the absurd. The trailer leaned heavily into the darker elements, leaving out the humor and warmth that ultimately made the movie so beloved by audiences. And then there's the chemistry between the characters. The dynamic between Jack, Elizabeth, and Will Turner was a key element of the film's success, but the trailer barely touched on it. Instead, it chose to highlight the sword fights and dramatic confrontations, missing out on the more subtle moments of connection and camaraderie between the characters. The banter, the rivalry, and the unspoken bonds that formed between these characters were part of what made the movie feel so alive and engaging, but they were absent from the trailer. At the time of its release, The Curse of the Black Pearl was seen as a gamble. A movie based on a Disneyland ride? It seemed like a recipe for disaster. Even the trailer, with its flashy visuals and over-the-top action, seemed to suggest that the film might be little more than a fun but forgettable summer flick. But what no one expected was that this movie would launch a billion-dollar franchise that would span 5 films and capture the hearts of audiences around the world. The marketing team behind the trailer may not have fully understood the magic they had on their hands, but the film's success proved that Pirates of the Caribbean was more than just a theme park adaptation. The movie tapped into something timeless: adventure, mystery, and a bit of swashbuckling fun that transcended its origins. Audiences came for the action but stayed for the characters, the humor, and the story. It's hard to believe now, but at the time, the idea of turning a theme park ride into a movie franchise was met with skepticism. The trailer played it safe, leaning into the spectacle and avoiding any risks. But in doing so, it misled audiences, giving them the impression that The Curse of the Black Pearl would be just another disposable summer action film. Instead, it became a beloved classic that would go on to inspire generations of fans and filmmakers alike. In the end, The Curse of the Black Pearl trailer didn't just mislead, it cleverly hid the film's true magic. While it teased a surface-level pirate adventure, the movie offered far more depth, charm, and heart than expected, becoming a cinematic gem that transcended its marketing. It's a reminder that trailers often show only part of the story, and the real treasure lies in what's left to discover. What do you think? Did the trailer mislead you too? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more hidden gems.